Hi, welcome to Talking Books and Stuff, the program that talks all about books and writing and stuff. Here's your host, Dennis Rimmer.
Hello again, this is Talking Books and Writing and Stuff, where we talk about books and writing, and lately talking about some songwriting. And just a reminder, you can follow Talking Books and Stuff on Twitter. That's at stuff_talking. We also have lots of stuff on our Facebook page, but we'll get to that at a later date in this episode of Talking Books. So, with us today from the Toronto area, and probably going through the same stuff as most of us are, we have Bif Naked. Bif, welcome to Talking Books and Writing and Stuff.
Neat. I love writing and I love talking about it, so I was looking forward to talking to you.
Oh, good. And there's so much to talk about. We're supposed to have books as our main topic. So you do have a book. It's called I, Bifficus. Maybe we'll start by telling us just a little bit about that and what prompted you to, it's obviously an autobiography, what prompted you to put your story on paper?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I was badgered into doing it by my manager of almost 30 years. Peter. And so this is about, I would say, 2013, we started that process of recording my memoirs, as if you will. And I mean, as a person in their 40s, you would think I would have waited a little later to do a memoir, but I tease my family and my manager, suggesting that the only reason they wanted me to do it was because I didn't croak from cancer or from my heart surgery that I had only had at that time a year before. So really, I think that's what prompted it was a couple of series of health issues that were threatening to end my days, if you will, and of course it didn't. And I was able to get my memoirs done, which was a pleasure because my dad was still alive, and so I could read him my notes and interview him for my memoir. I wanted my parents to figure prominently in the book, and that was the best part about it. And so it came out in 2016 on HarperCollins. They were generous enough to take my little story and make it into a book. And I'm just now trying to do an audio book for this. There's a lot of people who prefer audio books, and certainly for some of my friends who have trouble reading on the page, it would be of great benefit. Since then, I've been endeavoring to do two other books. One is a very serious, look at cancer, but it's very specific for kind of more for caregivers and healthcare teams. Really, is that what that's geared toward? And my first book of poetry, called Razor Blade Chewing Gum.
All right, I'll file that away as a title I can't use because it's already taken. So when we're talking with Bif Naked and about writing and books and songs and music and everything else in between. So when you're writing basically your life story, an autobiography, and yet the people involved are still alive or with us, how do you juxtapose what you imagine or remember with what they imagine or remember? And how do you get the actual truth out of all that when everybody has a different truth?
Oh, absolutely. You have really hit the nail on the head. And that's a fantastic question because for me it was a question, particularly with some of my dear friends with whom I've been friends since, the early 90s. And I have had a lot of misadventure with a couple of these girlfriends of mine. And so I did talk to them about it, and I did send them my drafts, and I offered to change their names or anything they wanted or needed me to do or to omit. I was totally open to that, and I had two girlfriends that were perfectly happy with me changing their names, and one girlfriend who said, "Don't change my name." I'm very proud of our experiences. And then in the end, because I changed everybody else's name, well, I changed her name too. And I found that, and certainly it is my perception and my memory, which is very different experientially and probably emotionally from everyone else's memories. And so, even these traumas, certainly there are a lot of traumas that I reflect upon and write about in this book. And whether it's a coping technique or not, most of my memories, even of those most heinous stories and situational tales, most of my memories are quite fond. And I am very optimistic in my book, despite some of the dangerous things I'm describing.
And also, when you're doing it's an autobiography, of course, like I said, it's your story, so you still have to remain true to you as the author and kind of try to avoid having other people tell you what you should think about your life.
Oh, certainly. And I have, since the book was published, I have had many different conversations with either journalists or critiques or even friends and acquaintances that either they were disappointed in my reflection of something that they would maybe have preferred I guess be more detailed about certain aspects of my adolescence in particular. And I just thought, I think it's okay. I think I'm good. I don't feel the need to go into, a huge amount of, sorrow and detail about some of these tragedies, if you will. And I'm perfectly happy with how it's depicted.
And the book is Bifacus, and
yes.
It's still available, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. It went into paperback printing, in fact, and you can if you search for it, you can find it online or even on our little website or on HarperCollins or wherever you like to buy books.
Okay, Bif Naked is with us. Going back a bit, you had a diverse childhood, to say the least. How would you describe your childhood?
Well, honestly, I describe my childhood as serendipitous because my family, my father, moved around a lot. And even though for both of my sisters it was detrimental, for me it was absolutely wonderful because I was always the class clown. I was a theater
welcome to the
kid.
club.
Yeah, I was a theater kid, and it was really good for me. It kind of gave me a bit of an education, if you will, that prepared me for a life of rock and roll touring. In fact, having to be so adaptable to different environments and schedules and whatnot. It was, I thought I had a fantastic childhood.
And the name is, the Bif came from what your given name was?
So my given name was Beth. And unbeknownst to my parents, who were my adoptive parents, my birth mother secretly named me Elizabeth. And they had no idea, but named me Beth anyway. So it definitely fits me. But in about the 8th grade, there was a little kid in my school who had this cousin who mispronounced my name simply, and he couldn't say the word Beth because of how he spoke. He kept calling me Biff, and it stuck. And Bif Naked was the punk rock stage name that I was christened with when I was about 17 or 18 years old and starting to perform in the Winnipeg underground clubs. And it was the last name that I was christened with, I guess, to make a distinction between me and all the male singers, I suppose.
Right.
And at that time, it was very important to us young ladies to be as provocative as we could. So it was quite suitable.
Right. Well, it is a great name. It's right up there with Johnny Rotten or Joey Shithead or Chuck Biscuits or any of those guys. I think it's
God
wonderful.
Bless you.
It's
God
wonderful.
Bless.
So what about music? Can you remember the first time you ever got paid to do music?
I'm still waiting to get paid. No, I tease.
Tell me about it.
Truthfully, I think that I probably we started making money when we were on tour in about 1989. But around the same time, I remember not being able to squeeze any money out of the promoter. I think we were in Oregon. And the band that was on the bill with us felt so sorry for us that they emptied their pockets and took up a collection to give us 23 American dollars to make sure that we could go get a tank of gas and go on our merry way. Oof. And it always stuck out to me, even though it probably wasn't the first time we got paid, but it was one of the most meaningful.
Now, you've had a diverse career. Bif Naked is with us. We talked about her book, I, Bifficus, but you also studied theater for a while at the University of Manitoba, apparently. Go Bisons and all that stuff. And you're a cartoonist. You've got graphic books out there. How do you keep track of all your different skills?
Oh, bless your heart. Well, I still think, I sometimes still think I haven't found my calling. And I think that's true for a lot of people, who kind of change directions in the middle of their careers. And even though I started out, and it was at the University of Winnipeg in particular, and there was a school in Winnipeg called the Prairie Theater Exchange, where I was trying to take some musical theater courses, even though I had no intention of ever being a singer or being into music at all. I just really wanted to go into theater and be an actress is what I really thought I would do. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, I still think that that I am still evolving, hopefully, and trying to find my way and chart my path. The older I get, the more interested I am in other people. And through being a patient, when I was going through breast cancer treatment, I was introduced to volunteering in the hospital. And what I discovered was not only did I have a knack for it, I loved the environment. And always lamented why I didn't get my degree in sciences. So that I could work in the hospital and actually be of more benefit to people in some way. And I still wonder really what I'm really cut out to do. And the book that we're trying to do now is about cancer and caregiving and stuff. And I find that I love having an audience of health professionals. If I can scare them or soil them in some way with my brand of humor surrounding patient care, well, then I've done my job.
And Bif Naked is doing her job with helping us with entertainment, with books, with music, with everything, acting, done a lot of acting over the years. But you had in the, what shall we say, a few years back, a couple of health scares back to back. What was that like for you, to say the least?
Well, a lot of people, for example, during this time of the coronavirus and COVID-19 lockdowns where people need to isolate and protect themselves, that was really what it was like as a cancer patient. Any family who goes through cancer on some level with a member of the family knows exactly what I'm talking about, where you've got an immunocompromised person and everyone needs to be particularly careful. So it wasn't really that much different from now. But being a touring musician, it was very difficult to go through breast cancer because I was stuck at home. I couldn't continue touring. I was pulled off the road, and that was hard. And certainly, as any woman will tell you, going through chemotherapy, your identity gets challenged. You lose your hair, your body changes, things change for you, and that's something that we all have to wrestle with. And once I kind of started to recover from that, then my kidney failed about 2 years later. And then after learning I wouldn't lose my kidney, but the reason it was misbehaving was because I basically, to put it in really easy understanding, I had a stroke in it. And that stroke really probably should have been in my brain or my heart, but because I had a hole in my heart, it passed through that hole and went the wrong way and wound up in my kidney. So as a result, I got heart surgery in 2012, and they patched up that hole that I'd had since birth, and they fixed it all up, and I was good as new, even better.
Even better. Wow.
Even better.
Better. Speaking about the off the healthcare situation, but yes, how are you handling this COVID situation? Because probably by, like I said, July, when we expose this to everybody, it'll probably still be around. So, how are you dealing with it on a daily basis?
Well, it is disappointing. I think that's the biggest word for everyone. Everyone kind of has a collective disappointment, and certainly for us touring musicians, it's very disappointing. We had to cancel a lot of, I had a couple speeches that I was going to give in the spring, and I had my own convocation, getting my honorary doctorate from SFU this year. But the good news is, so far, our tour that we were supposed to be on in May, our tour with a band called Buck Cherry and Age of Days, that has been postponed to October, November, and there's a Saskatoon date on that. I think it's November 3rd, but check the website because I could be wrong. And we're going to still be coming. So I'm very happy about that. A lot of other tours have been canceled, and so far ours has only been postponed. So I'm definitely keeping my fingers crossed that will still happen. That's
yes.
all I can hope for.
Yes, well, November, it should be okay. I mean, this can't go on forever. I'm getting kind of antsy, and we're out in the country a little bit in Radisson, Saskatchewan, small town, 500 people. We don't do much anyway, so the only difference is, but you still feel a bit of a anxiety because we can't go see the grandson. We can't go visit the daughter, the son. Well, the son's moved in with us now, and so a big adventure is going grocery shopping. But wow!
Yes,
what
definitely. It's very, very, it's very difficult. But it's hard to say. I think that drive-in movies will probably come back into fashion, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the mosh pit will continue.
Right. Well, I was talking with a name dropper that I am, David Clayton Thomas, the other day, who said he lost in one day, if I'm paraphrasing, if I remember him right. One day, $500,000 worth of bookings just went boom, down the tube.
Yes.
That was it, gone. So
that's right. Yeah, 100%.
Everything for 2020 was out the window, but they're starting to rebook for 2021.
True.
So
yes.
What about the hardest lesson you ever had to learn about, let's say, the music entertainment business?
Oh gosh, there have been so many lessons over the years, and I'm happy for all of them. But I think that one of the hardest lessons I learned was when we were making my second record, Bif Naked, or it could have been when we were making my first, really, because we had signed a record deal. And right before we released that record that we had worked so hard making and manufacturing CDs and the artwork and taking pictures and hand lettering all the lyrics and doing all the things that went into making physical copies, well, then the record company just simply folded. And we were left without a home and without any distribution. And that was a shock, and it was a devastation and a lot of tears and woe is me, and how will we ever go on, and I should just go back to school. But instead of I guess deciding to give up, we just decided to make our own record company instead and keep going. And I think that lesson still carries me, because as time goes on, we have to relearn it every year. And as a woman, and as a woman who's now getting older, I find that I am still learning those lessons all the time, and no one's going to do it for us. We have to just keep going. And sometimes it's daunting, for sure, but we have to just do it anyway.
We can't have a conversation with Bif Naked without talking about tattoos.
Oh, fantastic.
What was the first one you ever got?
So the first tattoo I ever got was, I think most people know it as the Egyptian eye, or the Eye of Horus, which is really the symbolism for the third eye, or the all-seeing eye, or the mother of truth, if you will. And I only wanted one, and I thought that was a suitable one for my only tattoo. It meant a lot, and it wasn't very big, but it was, at the time, it was in the late 80s, not a lot of girls that I knew had tattoos, except the ex-cons from my NA group or whatever. And it just kept going from there. I wound up getting one on my birthday every year. And as time went on, different milestones in my life, I just wanted to record those milestones in my skin and commemorate them. And that's kind of, I think, how it probably goes for most people who have lots of tattoos.
My nephew, he's in his mid-20s. Yeah, that's how he started. He had one. And then the next thing you know, his mother, my sister, says, yeah, he got another one. And then a couple of months later, yeah, he's got another one.
That's right. Yeah, it just kind of happens. It does.
I don't have any. I've got pierced ears, a pierced eyebrow, and pierced nose, but no tattoos. And
fantastic.
I'm 71, but maybe when I'm 80, I'll have a tattoo, but not quite. And I don't know why. I like them on other people. I just don't want one. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh, I totally know what you're saying. My husband is the same way. The only tattoo he ever wanted was Kiss.
Was what?
Kiss, the band.
Oh,
Kiss.
Right. I've seen them.
Kiss.
It's Kiss. I've seen them about 3 times, I think, starting back
fantastic.
in the 70s. Yeah.
Amazing.
What's the best part of being Bif Naked right now?
Well, honestly, lots. I think that I'm coming into a good era in my life as I head into towards turning 50 and going forward. I find that I am more inclined nowadays to have a lot of laughs. I'm more inclined to write more. I write a lot more. I'm more inclined to relax my, I guess, hard-nosed attitude. I find that I just am more easygoing, and I think that might be true for a lot of people in Generation X, that are starting to get older. And I think that, we can still, you can look at Tony Hawk or any of these guys, they're in their 50s, and they make it okay for us to keep skateboarding.
Right. Oh, to be 50 fantastic. Again.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. I laugh at my little friends who are turning, 25 or 35, and they bemoan, their aches and pains, and I just laugh. I just laugh.
You are working on a new musical release, Champion. Is that in the works?
Yes, Champion was actually, so we thought, was finished in January. And we released our first single, which was Jim. And what I wanted to do was release the first 3 singles because there was a particular order that I wanted to have. And if you release your entire record, of course, with streaming and everything in these days, people can just cherry pick and they can just only listen to what they want to. And there was a real order that I really wanted everyone to hear the songs in. So that hasn't changed. But I think that honestly, with the pandemic and scheduling changed for so many other artists as well as us, I don't know. I was very obsessed with releasing this Champion record at the end of August, and now I'm relaxing. I think that if I can put it out in September, I'll be happy. I don't know. I mean, the good thing is, with streaming and all the platforms that are available to artists today, we have a lot of freedom. That's for sure.
And that is Champion. So we'll look forward to that, and we can follow up on bifnaked.com. That's the website, I assume, the best way to contact you.
Absolutely, and I'm on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, all the places.
All the good stuff.
Yes.
Yes. And this is Talking Books and Writing and Stuff. We've been talking with Bif Naked about all sorts of stuff. You can also follow us on Twitter at @stuff_talking. And if you'd like to contribute to our cause, go to Patreon and look up Talking Books and Stuff. Bif Naked, a pleasure talking with you, and we hope September and October, November, we'll see you out this way back, perhaps.
Oh, me too. And I really appreciate it. It's been such a delight.
Thank you for visiting with us today. This is Talking Books and Stuff with Dennis Rimmer. Contact him at dennis@talkingbooks.tk. Thank you, and may all the good news be yours. Oh, and don't forget to check out his book, The Great Canadian Notebook, available across Canada and at amazon.ca.